What's up, guys? It's Chris here with my UFC 119 predictions. Apologies for the lateness of the video. I've been kind of busy, and just today I'm feeling a little under the weather. But I figured I'd just get the video out anyway. You know, even if you're sick, you can still talk. Talked about this show a lot last weekend on the radio show, Science of Violence, last Sunday. So, as I've said before, I probably won't go too super in depth. One thing I'll say about this card off the top: a lot of people aren't really looking forward to it. You know, not that much anticipation. Main event. I'm actually intrigued by the main event. I think that it's a compelling matchup as far as stylistically, but and it's definitely better in my opinion than the original main event that was going to be Frank Mir versus Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira 2. Regardless of how that fight would have played out, I don't think it would be as entertaining as this one has the chance to be. Oh, real quick though, man. Oh no, I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it at the end. Anyways, so undercard. Don't have a lot to say about it. There's a couple fights on Spike TV. You got CB Dollaway against Joe Dirksen. The UFC really likes CB Dollaway. They always try to match him up favorably. Not for sure why, but they really like him. But I'm gonna go Joe Dirksen. Way more experience. Don't know. He may be have a little too much mileage at this point on the odometer, but I think he's the better fighter. Matt Mitrione and Joey Beltran. Mitrione, last fight, sent Kimbo out the UFC. Joey Beltran, undersized guy, kind of a guy that the UFC seems to try to put guys they want to win against. Like they put him up against one of the Gracies, but Joey won. You know, I think Joey is the better fighter, but Mitrione's size might give him problems. And Joey's not exactly top 10 heavyweight level, no disrespect. So I'd go with Matt Mitrione by TKO in that fight. So those are going down on Spike before the pay-per-view. Heading on the pay-per-view itself. Oh, real quick, one last thing, though, about UFC 119. A lot of people aren't looking forward to it, and I've said it time and time again, though. The events that we really aren't looking forward to, for the most part, not always, but usually turn out to be the more entertaining ones. Look at UFC 118, for example. Tony Couture, Penn Edgar 2. That was a really high-profile event. In my opinion, it sucked. The Nate Diaz fight was cool, but that was it. So these events, I think, maybe, I don't know if it's because we have lower expectations or what it is, but the fights really seem to all come together like a good night of fights, not just one good fight. So we'll see if that's the case here again. Anyways, opening up the pay-per-view broadcast, I believe, is Melvin Guillard, Young Assassin, against Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens. Now these are two of my favorite fighters. Definitely my top 10. Really like the way these guys fight. Like their attitudes both in and out of the ring. They both want this matchup. Similar fighting styles. It's really a toss-up who I think is going to win. I think that maybe Jeremy's got a better chin, but I think that than Melvin maybe, but I think that Melvin is going to use. If you notice, it's actually I think Melvin's won maybe 3 fights in the UFC with body shots, and Jeremy Stevens, although he won his last fight against Sam Stout, he did get dropped in the 3rd round with the body shot, and Melvin's, he goes to the body often, so this fight definitely I think is going to be the best of the night by far. Stylistically, it's almost like a can't miss or a can't lose as far as excitement level. But that said, I'm going to go with Melvin Guillard. Like I said, either guy could win. It might go to a decision. I don't know. Hopefully it's just going to be the stand-up war that we expect. But I think that Melvin Guillard's going to use those body shots, knees, and he's got a good jab to the body. And I think maybe, if he studied the Stout fight, they'll find a weakness on Jeremy Stevens, and he might be able to stop him with the body shot. But if it goes to a decision, coin toss. I don't really care who wins. I'm a fan of both guys, so just looking forward to the fight itself. Next up, we got Matt Serra, Chris Lytle, 2. Oh, no, we got, well, I don't know. It's hard to tell what order these fights are in. Let's go with Evan Dunham, Sean Shirk. Evan Dunham, on a serious roll, beat Efren Escudero, beat Tyson Griffin his last time out in what should have been a unanimous decision. Sean Shirk lost his last fight against Frankie Edgar. He's been out for over a year, injuries and stuff. So, stylistically, I think it's a good matchup. Striker versus wrestler versus grappler. So it should make for a pretty entertaining fight, I think. But although I think Shirk obviously has had the better career at this point, it goes without saying. They seem to be at different ends of their careers. Shirk, I'm not saying he's done. I think he's still got a few good fights left in him, but I think he's on the downside of it, especially when he's getting injuries and he's out this long. Kind of shows his body's breaking down. And as far as Evan Dunham goes, this guy is just on a complete ascent right now. He is definitely in his prime, it appears, physically. He looked really good in that Tyson Griffin fight. He looked good in the Escudero fight. I will not be surprised if Sean Shirk wins this fight by decision, using his boxing and his wrestling, ground and pound. But I'm going to go with Evan Dunham to win this. he's not going to submit Sean Sherk. Sean Sherk don't get submitted, and I don't think he's going to knock Sean Sherk out. So I will go with Evan Dunham by decision, but either guy can win this fight. Next up, Matt Serra, Chris Lytle 2 rematch. These guys fought like 4 years ago. Finals of the Ultimate Fighter, season 4, maybe not 4, but whatever. Matt Serra got the decision. I actually thought Chris Lytle won the fight. Doesn't matter. Matt Serra after that fight won and upset GSP to win the title. Since then, Chris Lytle, he makes exciting fights. He's always in the fight of the night, but that doesn't mean that he is really one of the better fighters out there. Not to say Matt Serra is necessarily, but Serra has been looking better lately. I thought he looked really good in that Hughes fight. I knocked out Frank Trigg, obviously. That was a good win for him, regardless of what you think of Trigg. So these guys will probably stand and trade more than they did in their first fight, where Serra kept trying to just get Lytle down. I think Serra's improved his boxing. I don't think he's the better boxer, but I think he hits harder than Chris Lytle. And if it does hit the ground, which he didn't in the first fight, really, I think Matt Serra does have an advantage there as well. Although, lights out can grapple himself, Lytle. So, end of the day, hopefully it'll be an exciting fight, but I'm going to go with Matt Serra by decision. Next up, we got Antonio Rogerio Nogueira against Ryan Bader. I believe that, no, this is the fight that was supposed to happen. Rogerio didn't look so good in his last fight against Jason Brills. He won the decision. A lot of people thought Brills won. Terrible performance for Rogerio. Bader knocked out Keith Jardine in his last fight. Still undefeated. Still, climbing the ranks. Looking pretty impressive every time out. Initially, and I think on the radio show, I picked Rogerio to win this fight. But I was listening to the Jordan Breen show today, and he said that reports he's heard is that Rogerio looks like garbage right now in camp. Just doesn't look good at all coming into this fight. Thus, I'm going to go with Ryan Bader. He's got the wrestling to take Rogerio down, much like we saw Jason Brills do to him. On the feet standing, I think that Rogerio's got better technique with the boxing, but I think Ryan Bader hits a lot harder. And if Bader gets in any trouble on the feet, he's always got the wrestling background to take, the ability to just take Rogerio down and, hold him down there and try to bomb him out. So I would have favored Rogerio in this fight, but like I said, after that information I heard today, whether it's true or not, we'll find out on Saturday. But I'm going to go with Ryan Bader to win this fight by decision. Main event, Frank Mir Cro Cop versus Mirko Cro Cop. I already talked about earlier how it's replacing, Mir Nogueira 2. The only thing I'm worried about in this fight is, as far as, with Cro Cop, is reportedly got an eye injury last week. People thought he was pulling out of the fight. He's not, but he did have sustained some kind of eye injury. I don't know if he got poked in the eye or what it is exactly, but it definitely sounds like he has something going on there. I don't know how it's going to affect him in the fight. He doesn't have to worry about Frank Mir hitting him and hurting him in the face as far as I'm concerned. If this fight goes without saying, if it stays standing, Mirko Cro Cop should win. If it goes to the ground, Frank Mir should win. So who do I think is going to be able to apply their game plan more effectively? I'm going to say Cro Cop. Now, don't get me wrong, Mir can get Cro Cop down, but Cro Cop has showed some alright submission defense. He's not really been submitted, but maybe once by Rodrigo Nogueira years ago in Pride. And Frank Mir, the longer the fight goes, the more he gasses out. Same with Cro Cop to a degree. But like I said, I don't think he has to be worried about Frank Mir on the feet. And Frank Mir, just whenever he's hit, he just can't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could take hits here and there, but when he takes a sustained, I don't want to say beating, but when he takes a sustained punishment of any kind, he kind of just folds under it. Got blasted out by Carwin, got blasted out by Brock, got blasted out back in the day by Ian Freeman, Brandon Vera, Pedapano, although he's recovered from those crappy fights when he was in terrible condition. But I think Cro Cop puts it on him, kicks him in the legs. Maybe, I don't know, he might not want to risk those leg kicks, but kicks to the body, kicks to the head. Cro Cop's got underrated boxing, pretty good right and left hands. Definitely the more solid, the better puncher here. So I'm going to go with Cro Cop. I think he's going to hurt Mir. I think Mir, like I said, might fold under after that, And I think Mirko will go for the kill. If anything else, Mirko, at least in the past, maybe not so much now, but he's been, goes for the finishes. So that's that. I guess maybe I'll be back on Saturday and talk about these fights afterwards. If not, I'll definitely be talking about them on Sunday on the radio show, Science of Violence radio show, with co-host this week, Fight Magazine's Danny Acosta. We'll be talking about this card, and we'll also be previewing WC 51 coming up next Wednesday. So be sure and check that out if you're interested. You can always call in or email the show at scienceofviolence@gmail.com. So that's it for now, guys. Once again, sorry about the vid. Like I said, I'm really feeling under the weather, but, better late than never. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the fights. Let me know who thinks is going to win the main event. And until next time, I'm out.